Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host Jay. I'm here with my co-host Brad. Hello, Brad.
How was your weekend, Jay? I bet you it was better than the current president's.
I did not have any squeaking tanks rolling down my street in front of me like an asshole.
Dude, we'll get into it, but I mean, there really just isn't a more perfect clip of that going around seeing the tanks rolling down Constitution Avenue, with to the sound of silence and squeaking wheels. As Fortunate Son plays in the background.
Okay, that's fair. That's hilarious. Yeah, I just think of that moment in Wizard of Oz where they meet the Tin Man. It's like more oil. Like that's all I can think of. Like spending what has been estimated at like $45 to $50 million for this nonsensical pageantry for a draft dodger is just peak pathetic behavior, right? And I know they tried to do this thing, which, respect to them for at least trying to cover up. Like, well, this is about the military's anniversary. That's what it's really about. So, you're not allowed to boo this. You're allowed, you have to like it. You wouldn't fucking AJ squared away. And if you don't like it, patriot.
Celebrate America's military. Brought to you by Planeteer. Like, oh, cool.
And Coinbase. Like,
right.
Okay, fucking super weird, man. Yeah. Super weird. I wonder if they're paying directly to the president's fucking pocket.
Bro, they literally had actual active duty soldiers handing out samples of Dana White's new fucking energy drink at the fucking parade.
Oh my God, I had not seen that. That is fucking pathetic. How mad are you as a fucking military personnel? Like, what am I doing right now? What am I doing?
What are you doing?
Bullets being shot at my ass than doing this. Look, what is?
It's pretty cool. Is fucking 5 million people, maybe more, at events all over the country.
I'm going to shake my head, Brad.
No?
Agree to disagree. The numbers are in, my man.
Oh, good.
The numbers are in. Hell of a lot more than 5 million. They're saying on from multiple sources, on average, it's about 13 million at the No Kings protests across the country. 13 million people. As opposed to the 7 or 8 people who showed up to the military parade in D.C. Look, I love it. I think that's great. I love that people are out there. There were a number of issues at No Kings protest. Unfortunately, people decided that they were going to open carry, mostly, your right-wing MAGA types to go and be agitators. I saw more than 2 videos.
You mean the cops? You're talking about the cops, right?
No. These are regular MAGA. Like these are these weren't like these weren't uniform MAGA. These were cops on the weekends, right? Like
Right.
But I saw at least 2, I think maybe 3 videos of people who were political agitators. Like that's not an argument. They were there to argue with protesters, right? So these are not people on the left who were open carrying, who reached for guns that they had, drew guns on people, and were like tackled to the ground, or brought guns to the event. I saw a video of a guy who had snuck a rifle in his backpack, and he was like sitting with a crowd of people, and apparently like one dude just like saw it in the bag, didn't say shit, walked right behind him, grabbed the bag and took it right over to a cop. He's like, that guy's a fucking rifle. And they fucking drew down on that guy and arrested his ass on the spot. I was like, oh shit. Because I think it was in Salt Lake City, which I don't think is an open carry area. They were like, nope, no, you're going to fucking jail. Another woman, like, she had a handgun on her hip and she was there arguing protesters. She had a fucking MAGA hat on or whatever. And she went to grab her fucking gun in her holster, and the security that was there, like, literally tackled this woman to the ground. Like, this shit was fucking crazy. And then another video I saw, some right-wing guy was masked, and he's like arguing with protesters, and I think he swung on somebody, And just these people around him just proceeded to beat the shit out. Like immediately were just like started punching. And then he drew his gun and they like cleared this fucking space. And then eventually the security was like, you need to fucking put your gun down, dude. Like they were not cops. They were just like security for the 5051 protests like crew, which was fucking insane. Again, just a side note, don't bring guns to protests. Terrible fucking idea. I don't care what side you're on. And then apparently in a real tragedy, somebody had a gun who was a liberal person, and someone thought that they were like not a good person and shot them. So, a little blue on blue fucking action. This is why you don't bring guns to a fucking to an event.
Yeah,
and I think that person
again, it's a charged environment, and Jay's talking about like some of the incidents that popped off. Pretty much everything that I saw all day Saturday was that the protests were super peaceful, super jubilant. You didn't see a lot of flare, like a couple of things Jay mentioned. Like I didn't even see. I hadn't even heard about. Like the Utah thing, I heard about.
I'm telling you, 3 things that happen out of 13 million.
Right.
Oh, and a kid drove a car into a crowd, which ended up not hurting anybody, and that kid was arrested. Of course, he was a right-wing asshole too. So,
right.
But again, that's 4 events out of 13 million. That's pretty fucking good.
But I mean, you know that the president and his team were kind of cowed by this when he couldn't even get his press secretary to march out to the podium to do like the Sean Spicer. Like, there's never been a bigger crowd, like, period, to do this shit. Like, I think his comms director that day tried to play that game. It's like, oh, there's 250,000 people in DC and no one showed up for the No Kings protest. And people were just like, bro, come on.
You can't possibly.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And again, not just in like liberal blue elite cities, but like,
no,
like a lot of the pictures that I saw, like Boise, Idaho. With like massive throngs.
Yeah, Boise's pretty liberal actually.
Right, but still in a red ass state. I mean, I know Boise itself is super blue, the blue center in Idaho, but like still a red ass state. Like you had shit all over the fucking place.
Utah had No Kings protests. No, I mean they were everywhere. And look, 13 million people coming out against this regime is significant. It means that people are actually quite honestly realizing how bad this is.
People are. I really wish that like institutions would. That would be nice. Super dope. That would be nice. But people are. Here's a good litmus test, by the way. If you go to see any like read any, reports about the No Kings parade, if you see news outlets talk about tens of thousands of people across the country protesting against the Trump administration, don't follow that news source anymore because they're not honest. Yeah, they're not honest and forthright about this shit.
There were several people out at these events, like a little bit more than
I heard an incredible point made, by the way, about the No Kings protest. Jay, you were much more politically attentive back in 2009, 2010 than I was. I had not had my like political awakening at that point. But you probably remember all of the fucking caterwauling about the Tea Party protests that were going on across the entire country, and how this was reshaping the country. And by the way, it kind of did at the ballot box in 2010. Like 2010 election was a huge Tea Party election. I saw someone online on Blue Sky mention that like, hey, like about like, I don't know, 30,000 to 50,000 people participated in those Tea Party protests that were country changing and earth shattering and completely going to change the trajectory of the country. It's very strange that I don't see the news media talking about the No Kings protest with the 20 to 30 times magnitude of the Tea Party protests from back then.
Yeah, it's very weird that the news media has a hard-on for not calling shit as it really is. when it comes to, hey man, people really don't like all this right-wing horseshit. And again, I don't understand it because all the right-wing stuff hurts the media too. Like, I don't know. Like, surely I'd be like, yo, can we get more reporting on this? Like, you would think.
At this point, I have to believe that major corporate-owned institutions, not just media, but just corporate-owned entities across the country, are just massive fucking masochists and just massive subs that just love getting fucking stepped on by their daddies up in DC.
I mean, there is a decent argument, I would say, to make that. But I would also say that a lot of it is just they love corporate money more than they love, like, I think they ride this like really weird line of give me more and more corporate money. That's great. I love it. And, you know, we're making billions of dollars or millions of dollars. But I feel like they can ride that line and just skirt the idea that eventually the axe won't swing at their heads, right? Like it's a really weird, and I think a really poor calculus, because the axe comes for all of you. Like even if you are kissing their ass, the right will eventually come for you, especially in a fascist regime. It is inevitable. So like this idea of like, no, we're just going to ride this thing out, baby. Like, we're good until you're not. And then all the money doesn't matter because they just take it from you. So it's a really weird thing. I've sort of never understood it, but I'm not a corporate dipshit. Like I'm just not. I'm like, how do you not see what's coming? Like when you see it happen to like organizations and they're like, we're along for the ride. And then Trump turns on them. They're like, wait, we were your friends. It's like, you didn't see this coming? Like, bro, they do this every time.
Yeah, they do they knife the people closest to them because they're the easiest people to reach.
Yeah, because you got your belly wide the fuck open. You're like,
right, and then it happens, and these fucking organizations are just like, oh, thank you, sir. May I have another? Like, it just it's insane.
Yeah, I could never understand that. I'm like, protect your fucking neck, man. Like, for one, just be like, I'm just gonna stay like a few feet away. They're like, no, I'll just run right into it. Like, surely it'll all work out for me. Like, yeah, for a time. And then he'll like, hey, ABC, maybe you shouldn't be able to broadcast anymore. You're like, we should probably not have capitulated. No shit. Yeah, because that's how that works. So yeah, the strongman parade didn't really work out. Looked pretty pathetic. I will make one last point about it, though, that I think needs to be made. Many people are speculating that our military is really bad at marching because look how terrible they are. Nah, they're not bad at marching. I don't buy this. The marching during the parade was atrocious. It was awful. These guys were not in any level of like decent formation. They were not marching with any level of like synchronicity whatsoever. As I said in our Discord, you can set your watch by the level of precision soldiers come out of boot camp with when it comes to marching. These guys are like, hey, bro, what's going on? They're like, just like sashaying
I'll
down.
Tell you, as
I'm not buying it.
I've never been in the military. I was in marching band for several years. I was a drum major for a couple of those years,
wow.
Actually. So I was like
a drum minor, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, a drum major. Right. It's really hard to march out of rhythm. When it's drilled into you to march in rhythm. So
yeah, so you got to like make real concerted effort.
It's a conscious effort, to do it. Yeah. So
look, my military experience is very serious. I was in junior ROTC in high school.
Were you really?
Yeah, I was. I was a big fucking dork. You'd be shocked to know this. You'd shocked to know this information. Yeah. Disaster. But even we learned to march. And our marching looked better than that, which tells me one thing, which is it is highly likely that this was those members of the military, this was their protest. Because, and you could say, oh, I'm sure someone, that's not true. You're giving too much credit, blah, 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 blah. Here's what you would have to believe if they're just really bad at marching. You would have to believe that not only are they bad at marching, and not just one of them is bad at marching, but everyone in their squadron or their company is also bad at marching. And you would also have to believe that their commanding officer, who is in front of them and who has to be on television with them, is also bad at this. And you would also have to believe that the person yelling out the cadence, whether that's their commanding officer or another soldier, is also bad at this. No. That's not a thing. Those guys would be raked over the fucking coals if they got off of television and they marched like that, and they were told to, and they were supposed to be marching correctly, which tells me that the soldiers and their commanding officers were well aware of what was going on, and they were fine with it because they don't want to do this dumb shit either. But they can't just go, I ain't going to do this shit, because nobody's trying to get fucking court-martialed or, be brought up on, being disciplined in a myriad of other ways. This is the military telling you, at least in this small sort of microcosm, we don't want to fucking be here. We also think this is fucking stupid. That's my theory. That's my working theory.
I mean, and again, the whole premise, and no one that's listening to this is going to be surprised by this. The reason that we don't do this is because we don't fucking have to. If you're at a bar, the guy who's fucking running his mouth and the guy who's talking about how fucking tough he is not the guy you're fucking worried about. The guy that you're fucking worried about is the dude sitting over in the corner who hasn't said a fucking word, who has a fucking dead ass, stone sober look on his fucking face.
Yeah, that guy's gonna kick the dude, teeth.
Yeah, that's the dude that's going to beat the shit out of you. Americans never had to do this shit because we have the fucking forces to be hey, we know better than to fuck with the U.S. military. They are the best. Yeah, the best fighting force in the entire fucking history of human civilization. It's get the fuck out of here.
Right. This idea of we need to pound our chest to let you know how badass our military is. We don't.
So this is all for him. It is 100% for him. Let me ask you a question. Are you as surprised as I am that he hasn't gone full military dress yet? That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the fucking.
That's when you'll know.
The uniform.
Right, this dude is if he goes full Gaddafi type of shit, it's all right, we're in a world of trouble. This guy is he's full on dictator vibes, right? I honestly wouldn't be surprised. I just if he came out,
shock me at all.
Yeah, he was
I bet you if he does it, he still keeps the red tie though.
100%. You gotta personalize your dictator fucking gear. I thought the whole parade thing was just really pathetic. It was just pathetic, and I just love that it got totally drowned out by the No Kings protests. Perfect move by the people who organized this. Perfect.
Obviously, I'm offended that it happened.
Of course.
But if it had to happen, I'm glad that nobody fucking came to it. Because that is the best thing that is the best end. If we're gonna be forced to endure it, the best end result is for Trump to throw himself a big fucking birthday party and for nobody to show up.
Yep. And look, he fell asleep. There's footage of him falling asleep. There's footage of Marco Rubio yawning.
Yeah, yawning his crazy. Shit. Yeah.
And Melania was like, kill me now. I don't want to. No, you get to suffer along with them. Fuck you, lady. So it's look, it was all a complete waste of time and money. By the way, there is Fox News put out footage of Trump getting up there and saluting or whatever, and they added applause to it because there are other news where it's there was no applause. Just none, because there's 9 people there, dude. Just goes to show you propaganda works. I'm sure there are people watching on Fox News hell yeah, bro. This is AJ squared away. Look at the millions of people who are there and they love him. There's nobody there, dude. The emperor literally has no audience. Okay, this is just, it's all made up bullshit. All right, let's talk about news you need. The unfortunate news you need. Minnesota lawmakers targeted at their homes in the middle of the night by a gunman who shot and killed one member of Minnesota's Congress.
And her husband, by the way, too.
And her husband. And then went and shot another lawmaker and their spouse, who they both survived as of right now. Is really great news. State Representative Melissa Hortman died, as did her husband Mark, at the hands of this politically motivated assassination. Immediately, the right wing was like, obviously, Democrats were shot, so clearly a Democrat did it.
What, dude?
What?
I'm asking the question that I know the answer to, because I'm asking it rhetorically. But why are they still like? Why is the first thing they're going to do going to be to run to a microphone and it's like, oh, it must have been a Marxist who did it? I'm like, bro, like this always blows up in your face every single time you do it. But it's because they get the message out first, and then the people who hear it first, they just take that as the gospel, and
that's why they do it.
Give it a second thought, which is exactly why they do it. This is fucking. This whole story is horrifying, in so many ways, because the guy that did this, he basically. So he worked for like he ran like a security company, who I guess have like police like uniforms and cars, that they go to these things. And so this dude, so actually the first victims he shot were the ones who survived. So that's apparently where he went first. He went to this person's house. I don't know if he broke in or if he, said, hey, it's the police, and they opened up and they let him in. And he shot these two folks. And then in between him shooting the first two victims and then going to Melissa Hortman's house where he killed her and her husband, he was actually encountered twice by Minnesota police. And they were none the wiser, including a altercation, not an altercation, but like a meeting where a police officer like asked him like, hey, like, who are you with? Like, what's going on? Do you know what's going on? And he basically just like fucking 1,000-yard stared ahead of him in silence, didn't respond to her in any way. And she's just like, nothing weird here. Let's keep it moving.
Got the complexion for protection, man.
Right. So literally if the police had, just been not incompetent in this situation.
Yeah, just a little less dumb. Right.
It literally would have saved 2 lives. Because again, like the people that died happened after the police encountered him on 2 separate occasions, by their telling of it. Oh, but somehow, Jay, according to the Department of Justice, this isn't political terrorism. Don't be silly.
This isn't political terrorism. Spray painting a Tesla, political terrorism.
You fucking defile it, vandalize a Tesla. Oh boy, like that's terrorism to the highest degree. But literally murdering and attempted murdering lawmakers because they're on the political side of the aisle that you don't like, not terrorism.
Right, and let's be clear. Just to knock down some bullshit here, the right wing was like, "Well, this guy worked for Tim Walz." Think about it. No, this guy was on a bipartisan committee that worked with Tim Walz. The bipartisan part is important here because he's a Republican. Okay, he is a very much a MAGA Trump guy. He's apparently deeply conservative and deeply religious. He also went to school, which is like some Bible school or some shit like that, religious school that is a haven for Christian nationalists. So let's all pretend to be shocked there. There was that video, I don't know if you saw, of his neighbor who was reading like a text message from him. It's like, oh, I'm not involved. I don't want to involve you guys and think people to think that you're involved. And, I'm sorry about this. I watched a bit of that video. It was muted. And so I just was reading the subtitles. I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And then I watched it with audio and I was like, this guy's full of shit. The neighbor's full of shit. They were well aware. I mean, it's clear. Allegedly, right? Like that. It just comes off as the most disingenuous bullshit fake. It's like, remember when Kyle Rittenhouse was trying to cry during his trial? It was like, you guys know some crying? Like it felt like that. And I was like, this is bullshit. Like bullshit radar is like running 100%. Now I'm not buying it. And I know the police are like they're or the FBI is seeing if like this is a wider network of people. Yeah, I don't know, man. Check that neighbor's house. Like first, like
again, like it's incredible.
And by the way, his wife is totally involved as well because she got picked up like 75 miles away with passports to fucking leave the country and cash and a weapon. Now you're involved. Go to jail too. You're involved. The fuck out of here.
It's again, it's just incredible that no matter what a white person does, no matter how heinous their events go, the news media rushing to find someone who will say a kind word about them,
of course,
or to kind of rehab their image in some way, shape, or form. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking insane.
When you actually notice this, like if you acknowledge it, like if you are a reasonable person, in this case, a reasonable white person who goes, okay, I think there might be like some lopsided ways in which we talk about criminality based on race. And then when you start, like, you're like, all right, I'm acknowledging this. And then you start like watching, you're like, oh shit, how do people not see this? Because it's so obvious. And like, it'll be weird. It's like father lops his kids' heads off. And it's like, here's him fishing. You're like, why are you showing that picture? Like, why are you showing his mugshot? Like, it's like, it's the weirdest thing. They go out of their way to let you know, yes, this person did something bad, but are they really a bad person? Or
that's not the full. That's not the full picture.
Not like, the full story, man.
Yeah. You can't just myopically look at this dude and make a judgment of his character based on one unfortunate
horrendous. He killed his kids with a chainsaw. They're like, yeah, but last Father's Day he hugged them. So it's like even Steven, really. It's like, but once you notice it, it gets nuts. It's infuriating.
And the thing that I'm surprised about is why people are surprised about this. When you have the right in this country talking about just Democrats being Democrats as, like the devil, like an enemy force that must be defeated, destroyed,
enemy of the state,
right, and all that jazz. And this was brought up, and it got me to thinking. Remember a couple of years ago when somebody broke into Nancy Pelosi's house and found just her husband there and fucking bashed his fucking skull in with a hammer and put him in critical condition?
Yep.
And what was the right-wing reaction to that?
Ha ha.
It was a punchline.
Yep.
A person, again, literally went to the home.
Trump quite literally did himself. Not just his little surrogates and his shitty son, but he also did that.
Right. Like again, a right-wing assailant literally went to the house of a sitting U.S. congressperson, tried to murder her husband, and the right wing was just like, what a funny thing to happen to somebody. Yep. Like wonder why that was going on. And we're somehow supposed to be surprised that this is escalating and ramping up. Like we're supposed to somehow be surprised. The fact matters, like this dude's facing like federal charges. There's a non-zero chance that Trump fucking pardons this dude if he gets convicted.
No, they need to make sure that he also gets state charges. They need to make sure. Like this is not a thing to be like, well, surely they wouldn't. Surely they would though.
Yeah, and in the wake, and again, because the fish rots from the fucking head with all this stuff, in the wake of this fucking tragedy, right? They asked Donald Trump, like, "Oh, have you reached out to Tim Walz?" Nope. And he's like, I don't think so. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Like he's not a very good governor, so like I don't know why I should. Like bro, like can you set politics aside for like a millisecond and just pretend to be a decent human being?
No.
Not even like the responsible president of the country, but just at least feign being like an empathetic person to a governor in the state, which any president of any party would do to any governor of any
or
other
reach
party.
out to the fucking family, man.
Right.
You're the president. You can get anyone on the fucking board.
I saw a good Onion headline that said, President Trump calls victims' families to complain about, Tim Walz. is how.
I mean, ha, but like he would though. Like that, like the irony part is kind of fucking dead, right?
Right.
But that's what you would do, right? Obama would do it. Biden would do it. Mitt Romney would do it. McCain, pick any Republican, they would all do it.
J.D. Vance would do it. He would. No, come on. He of all you really think J.D. Vance would be like fuck Tim Walz? Yeah, I do. Because if nothing else to perform the office of president, he would.
Okay,
nothing else.
I'll give you. I was at 0% before you said that. I'll give you 30% that's possible. I think that J.D. Vance is a prick. I agree he would do more like performance aspects of the presidency. I'll give you that. But also, J.D. Vance is like, I feel like he is he's a sycophant to the sort of like the power of the right. So I think he would. The 70% chance that he wouldn't call, in my opinion, is because he would rather seem tough to them than to feel to seem sympathetic or empathetic to that family, right? Like he would rather the right be like, fuck yeah, fuck those guys, than like the general public would be like, hey, you should probably just call, that seems weird, right? Like I think he would rather just live in that bubble. So I'm going to give you a 30%. Yes, he would call. Nothing higher than that. Right. But like my biggest thing with this is I actually really like your point of like, why is anyone fucking surprised? Right-wing violence is a real thing. It just is. Like I saw someone did like an Instagram video where it was showing people on Twitter asking Grok like, isn't the left wing more violent? And Grok's responses were like,
turns out Grok is actually no matter how much you put your thumb on the scale of Grok, like Grok still, is incapable of just feeding you the exact bullshit that you want to hear.
Yeah, there's like they're like, well, surely there is left wing violence, and there's been 2 people who have been killed by left wing violence, and like 300 people killed by right wing violence. So while there's violence on both sides, not exactly even. Right-wing violence, far more deadly, far more frequent, right? And it's just like, Brock, your algorithm is broken. It's like, yes, the computer is cheating. Right, okay. All right.
Well, and we talk about this a lot on the show, and it's going to come up when we talk about what's going on in the Middle East later on.
Is there
the reason... is there some stuff happening?
Did you see the shit that's happening right now in real time?
No, I have not, but we'll talk about it. We'll get there.
Vanity.
But the reason that they're so comfortable on the right doing this is because, and the reason why Israel is so comfortable attacking Iran is because they literally look at the right wing in this country, the MAGA right, I should say, literally looks at the left, at Democrats as subhuman, as somebody that it's okay to react violently against because we're like savages or something, because we want universal health care or and social safety nets.
No. Yes, on your general point that they do see people on the left as being like subhuman or at least not deserving the respect of a what they would deem as a normal human being, but it's because they think we all kill babies. That's what it is. Fundamentally, that's what it is. I will never forget having a long, multi-week conversation with a right-wing guy on Twitter. This is like years and years ago, and it was like we did not agree on like anything, but the conversation was like respectful, right? He was like a young guy, right? I was like, yeah, I just fundamentally don't agree with that, but here's why. And he would tell me why. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. Your logic is fucking stupid, but whatever. I'm sure you thought the same. But it was always respectful. And it broke down on a conversation we were having. And he was like, well, you guys are you just kill babies. And I was like, go fuck your mother. And I was like, block. Like that was it for me, because it's like, because fundamentally that's where it all goes. Like it eventually, if they're pro-life, it eventually all trickles down to but you want to kill babies, because that is the most vile thing they can think of about Democrats. Like, I can think of shit tons of vile things that you guys believe and do all the time. You have this scenario that is incredibly lacking of nuance, but that's the only point that they have. It is. So when they're like, oh yeah, we should be able to kill those people, it is the insanity logic of, I have to kill this person to stop killing from happening. That's how much I love life, right? They literally have the same thought process as the DC character Peacemaker. I believe in peace so much that I am willing to kill for it, right? Like, that's how
it's the old adage that more people have died across human history in the name of God than for literally any other reason. So
it's a fact. It's a fact. We need world peace. Not on my
through World War. We will achieve world peace through World War
and mass killing. Once we kill all of them, then we'll have world peace.
Okay. To quote one of the great philosophers of our time, whoever said it first, you can't break an omelet, or you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
Yeah, a few billion of them.
That was the Joker who said that.
Yeah. He was insane, and I wouldn't know what to do with the car if I caught it. Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing story. I'm glad the guy was arrested. Throw him under the fucking prison and make sure you hit this motherfucker with all the state charges, all of them. All right, cool. Federal prison. That's great. Great, good, great, grand. Guess what? That shit don't work out. Don't worry, buddy. You'll be sitting in a Minnesota prison until the day you fucking die. And you should. Or, I'm also okay just want to just drive him out to whatever lake, tie a brick around his legs, and throw him and his wife off the boat. As far as I'm concerned, it's a cheap solution.
It is a shame we don't have a cursed Earth scenario like in Dread, where we could just make people take the long walk and just have them. Oh no! Just do it that way.
Fucking Mega City 1. Just go out there like, oh man, this sucks. Yeah, well, you suck. Yeah, that'd be great. I don't want Mega City 1. I'm kidding. Okay. So horrible authoritarian.
You don't want the sprawling metropolis that extends from Boston to Washington D.C. That's nothing but fucking city.
Oh my god. Maybe it'd be cool. I don't know. I feel like
I don't think it would be. Like I said, I've seen and read plenty of Judge Dredd media. I don't think it would be very cool, unfortunately. So.
Brad hates the future. Brad's a bit of a Luddite as it goes. Just do a mega city. I think it'd be cool. Just no judges. And like a lot of law enforcement, though. Like a lot. It's a huge jurisdiction. All right, next up, as I title this, Sir, Another Taco Has Hit the Towers. I was proud of that. So Donald Trump decided that during some presser that he was going to make an observation about what he deems is a real problem going on in America. And I don't know, Brad. I think he's right. I think he's right about this. So here you go. Here's a little bit of Trump calling out a problem that, desperate for a solution.
If you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because, you go into a farm and you look and people they've been there for 20, 25 years and they've worked great and the owner of the farm loves them and everything else. And then you're supposed to throw them out. And you know what happens? They end up hiring the people, the criminals that have come in, the murderers from prisons and everything else. So we're going to have an order on that pretty soon, I think. We can't do that to our farmers. And leisure, too, hotels. We're going to have to use a lot of common sense on that.
weird. It's almost like he has some experience with one of these industries and the need for undocumented labor in them. Strange.
I love the idea. Someone should just Photoshop the hot dog costume on him. Like, we've got to find the guy who did this. Like, you're the guy. Like, these policies are hurting farmers. That, you know, their workers are being scooped up and deported.
Yeah, dude,
we told your policy, dude.
Yeah,
you're the one.
You. Yeah, we told you this. We told you. We told you. We've been telling you.
Yeah, like
that you know, painting immigration enforcement with a broad brush, not necessarily a great idea.
Not a great thought process.
Yeah, perhaps you want to just go one layer deeper to be like, hey, maybe we focus on the people who are actually committing crimes instead of the people who are just trying to make a life for themselves and their family.
Right. Look, when I saw this clip, I was gobsmacked, which is not a term I use ever. I'm like, are the criminal illegals in the room with you? Like, what the shit are you talking about? You literally created a problem that did not exist. And now you're like, who the fuck did this? I'm going to put out an executive order to stop this. You're welcome, everyone. And by the way, here's a headline. ICE ordered to pause most raids on farms, hotels, and restaurants. So what you're telling me is anybody who's in America illegally immediately get one of these jobs. Like, immediately get one of these jobs. They're like, you be there forever, baby. Like, don't even worry about it.
That and it's a tacit admission that ICE was targeting places that were like, hey, like, where do we think immigrants work? Bingo. At all these places. Bingo. We got a quota to fill.
Right. And what it also tells you is that when you go, like, the big thing, right, is they know the same way that Doge found out. Mm-hmm. When Doge went into the United States government, they're like, we're cutting $2 trillion, baby. We got this. Look at all this waste. And they got there. What do? They didn't cut it. They were like, we're cutting $1 trillion. 500 million is where we're going. 250 million, right? Like, they quietly fucking
kept reducing by half.
And you know what?
And actually, we didn't talk about it on the show. One of the higher ranking,
this is exactly what I was going to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, that Elon brought with him. Actually, like, when he got there, like, they interviewed him like once he had been there for a little while, and he's like, actually, you know, we had this impression like that the government like runs, you know, fat and, you know, wasting tons of money. He's like, actually, the government runs a pretty tight ship. I got to say, like, I was shocked.
It's pretty fucking efficient.
And realize that actually there's really not a whole lot we could cut because
exactly. And the reason why, and by the way, that guy quit Doge, right? Because he was like, "What the fuck? Like, what are we just like ruining people's lives for no reason?" And the reason I brought up that in comparison to what ICE is finding is because of all of the rhetoric that Doge was told, right, and produced, and saying, hey, the government is running fat, like, oh, there's all this corruption and wasteful spending. Just like they did that, ICE went out there and said, all these illegal criminals, there's so many of them, they're doing all the fucking crimes. And when they started their work, the reason they started going after all of these people who've never done anything is because they couldn't fucking find that many people doing crimes who were illegal. Why? Because statistically, we've already known, it has been long reported for decades, that people who come to the United States, you know, either overstay visas or illegal immigration by just crossing the borders, are categorically more likely to do far less crime. Why? Because I'm trying to keep my head down, bro. I'm just trying to work.
I'm not calling. I
want to raise my head and get caught.
Right, and they underreport crimes as well because they don't want to call the police and then get scooped up as well.
Act themselves, right? So this whole idea of when they go, ICE is going to find all the criminals. Yeah, they had a hard time. We're gonna deport 3,000 criminals a day. They can't find any because most people are just working jobs and just living their lives. That's what most people are doing. They're not in the business of like armed robbery and shit like that. And here, look, I'll say this may seem like a wild statement. I don't think it is, but maybe it is a wild statement to like progressive and liberal people. Donald Trump could win this argument by doing something very simple. That I don't think you would disagree with this. Mm-hmm. If Donald Trump was like, look, we're going to go out there, we're going to snag these people who are like the criminal element, folks who are here illegally. We're gonna pick you're doing your armed robberies, your murders, and all this other shit, right? Your regular, fucking, bad hombres, as he would say, right? Mm-hmm. If you were going after those people, you know what Americans would respond to that with? And if you were giving them due process and getting them the fuck out of the country, you know what they would respond with? That seems about right. That's it. Mm-hmm. Nobody would give a shit, dude. No one, if you said, we're going to do due process and we're going to go after the people who are illegally here doing crimes. Not a person who works at a fucking hotel. Not the guys sitting outside of Home Depot trying to get a fucking day labor job. But the people who are like legitimately knocking people in the head, stealing purses and shit. If you just went after those people, you would hear no fucking complaints. None. People would be like, yeah, that makes sense. The right may be like, we need to get them all out. But here's how I know they're full of shit. Because Trump said this, and you know what the backlash was? 0. Nothing. You know why? Because those motherfuckers know it's true too. They know it's true too. What, you gonna just let all the fucking fruit on the fucking vine go to shit? You're gonna have all your stores unstocked and all this other stuff? They know they need those people too. They like to push up a bunch of rhetoric, but they don't want them people leaving because they ain't gonna do those jobs. I don't see a bunch of white people out in the fields in fucking Florida picking oranges. Fuck no, you'll burn to death.
Certainly fucking not.
By the way, as I heard on the internet, trial by sunlight, which I thought was really funny. But yeah, they know it too.
I'm going to disagree with you on one point, and that is that I don't think it's enough for them just to say it. Like, the reason that people are losing their shit about the treatment of migrants is because of what they're doing right now. Like, it's not, and even if they said like, oh, like we're only going to target the actual criminals, and then they still went on indiscriminate raids and stuff like that.
I'm saying if they did it, if they were true to their rhetoric. I agreed. If they were lying, that's different. But I'm saying,
right. But the problem is that this administration and him, right. But the problem is that this administration, him specifically, just be saying shit.
Well, no, of course. But what I'm saying is, if they were true to what they campaigned on and said, hey, we're going after people who are in the United States illegally, overstayed their welcome or they crossed the border or whatever, and they are doing crime. We were going, because he said the criminal illegals. If you listen to Cuban folks and all these other fucking idiots who are like, yeah, Donald Trump, we love you. All those people are like, wait, you said criminal illegals. He did. Now, he also was like, also, I'm going to get rid of all you fucking Mexicans. Right? Like,
yeah, but
he also said that on the low.
But that's the problem is that
they don't listen to that.
What they don't realize, but those folks, what the Latinos for Trump folks don't realize is that they consider, and by they I mean the administration considers you just being in the country illegally
is illegal, right?
Worthy of deportation, right?
Right. So. No, of course. But what I'm saying is, if it was just like, quote unquote, the bad hombres, like real people that you like, people are like, that person's a fucking criminal, like obviously, right? If they got rid of those guys and they gave them due process to get them out, by the way, it would be far less of them, so you would have the time. I know Trump is like, we don't have time for due process, which is a fucking insane thing to say out loud. But if you did proper due process and those are the guys you went after, you would get exactly 0 pushback from Republicans and Democrats. They'd be like, yeah, all right, what are we supposed to do? Argue against this? Nobody would argue against it. And you would actually get a win, but they are lazy. That's the problem, is they're fucking lazy. They'd rather just...
The last point I want to make on this, and we didn't talk about this a couple weeks ago when he said it, but it was kind of remarkable when he said it, because it's like one of those things where it's like, bro, you're so fucking close. Just expand your thought process a little bit.
Impossible.
Where when he talks about Canada, and he talks about the desire to make it, like you got to be the 51st state, which again, completely ridiculous to just take that entire, like literally the fucking second largest country in the world by landmass and be like, you're one state, congratulations.
You guys all think the same. Shut up, Quebec.
Right, but he wants to make it the 51st state. And in remarks that he's made about that, he talks about how like, oh, he's like, there's just like like this artificial separation between us, this like line. What is a border anyway? Like someone just drew a fucking line on a map and said like, this is it. Like you guys should be with us anyway. And I'm just like, holy shit. Like he's stumbling onto the point. I don't think he even fucking realizes it.
You're so close.
Oh,
you're so close.
Oh man.
Hey, I wonder if there's a line at the bottom of the country too. Like maybe we could just
that is also kind of arbitrary and just drew by some dudes and was like, hey, like this is where it separates and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's like you're so close to getting it. You're so close to getting it.
It's almost as if all borders everywhere in the entire fucking world are just a political construct that is made for the purposes of divvying up a rule.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
I love that Trump is pro open border. That's what I heard.
Why do we have these fucking borders here anyway? What's the purpose?
So yeah, all illegal immigration is bad. Maybe does it benefit me personally? Yeah, maybe. I mean, apparently farmers and hotel owners and things like that, like these major chains, basically called up to the White House or went to talk to him.
Oh, sure.
Like,
yeah, 100%.
Oh, you're fucking us up. Like, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, my bad. Sorry, I was talking about the money. My bad. Like, you know, I love money. So, like, sorry about that, guys. Let me go out here and pretend like somebody else did this. Amazing.
I mean, I guess, like I said, be happy that the blind squirrel found the nut, I guess, until things change 2 weeks from now, where it's like we got to exclusively focus on college students. Like that'll be the next fucking thing, but not Chinese college students. More to come on that.
I just think it's funny. Like he just has no sense of like giving a shit about being consistent.
It might be, and I know I'm probably going to go on a limb when I say this, because he's a fucking idiot.
I got challenged on Reddit when I called RFK Jr. a fucking moron. They're like, "Why do you think that?" I was like, "All right, like here we go."
I mean, how much time do you have?
I was like, "I'm gonna give you 3 examples. I'm busy right now." He doesn't believe in germ theory. How about that? Starting there. So yeah, it's another fucking taco chicken out. Like it is. It is, because of course it is. Of course it is.
I'm happy that someone stumbled upon the taco acronym because I know it really bothers him.
Mm-hmm.
And we should absolutely keep using it. So
yeah, no, 100%. Brad, I'm going to let you read the next story, and I'm just going to sit here and gloat. Go ahead.
Okay. Headline from Newsweek: 2024 election results under scrutiny as lawsuit advances. So apparently,
tell me.
A nonpartisan watchdog group filed a lawsuit in Rockland County, New York, alleging voting discrepancies in that county. But obviously, it doesn't fucking matter because Donald Trump is currently the president, and that's not going to change. But Jay is on this kick that there might be like massive voter fraud that we don't know about.
I think that there are some very squirrely, weird things going on. Here's the thing. I try not to lean into conspiracy theories things too much.
Yeah. And my thing is, there's nothing that this administration has shown us ever that proves that they have the competence to pull this off, and B, the wherewithal to keep it hidden after the fact.
I would say on the surface that feels true. However, looking at statements that Donald Trump has made, it feels like he is itching. Like he's got that that weird thing of like, oh, if I scam the system, I want to tell you how bad I scammed it, you dumb assholes. I'm the best, right? Like he's got that fucking thing in him. But looking at some of those like counties or districts or whatever in Rockland, they're apparently very Orthodox mm-hmm. Jewish areas, and it's weird, right? Because like apparently people are like, well, they vote in blocks and things like that. But there's like very weird things about in some of them, and I wish I still had the website up, but in some of these places, like Kirsten Gillibrand won over the Republican. Like, let's say, because they're tiny little areas, right? It's like 900. It'll be like 900 votes, right, in total.
Mm-hmm.
Kirsten Gillibrand would win like 580 votes to like the Republicans 300 and something, right? And then, you get a couple of people who vote a third party or some shit. And that's like consistent across a number of them. But then when it comes to the presidential election, Donald Trump would win like 900 of them and Kamala Harris would win 0. Mm-hmm. And I'm not exaggerating 0. I mean literally 0. Or like across 3 of these counties or districts or whatever the fuck they are, neighborhoods, she won 3 votes across 3 of them. And Donald Trump won like almost exclusively every single vote there. But yet in that same exact district, it's more even for the Senate race. Mm-hmm. Why? Right? That statistically doesn't make any sense, right? You could say, cool, Kamala Harris runs a little behind Kirsten Gillibrand. Like, that makes sense, right? Like, okay, Kirsten Gillibrand got 580 votes. Kamala Harris got 470 votes. Like, okay, like, it's possible. 0, and then Donald Trump gets every single vote. It's bizarre. Like, it's a little bizarre. So, again,
my point with that is, though, like, so this is happening in New York. Like, if you're going to, and again, like, you're saying, well, like, what if this is the tip of the iceberg and we find, like, more shit all over the place in states that actually matter? If you're going to fucking rig shit, like, why would you even bother trying in New York where you know that those
because
votes are
people won't look. Because people won't look. If you're just talking about, like, if you're talking about why do you do it here, I would make the argument that people don't look. It's fucking New York. It's also a tiny, tiny little area too, right? Because it's not.
So I'm not saying that
winning New York City. It's not.
Right, but so what I could believe is that there is something fishy going on in this specific county. What I don't believe is that it's some orchestrated campaign coming from the tip top of the fucking RNC.
Yeah, it could be
just some local election official doing some crazy fucking shit.
Right. And I think
ex parte.
And here's the thing. The other aspect to this, and it's the sort of the less reported part of this, right? It's not just the numbers. There was also updates that went unreported on those particular machines right before the election. That's my issue. That's my bigger issue, is that they were told that these computers were not, or these voting machines were not hooked up to the internet. And there were significant updates on these machines, according to a number of reporting about this story. That to me carries a lot more weight than what is happening potentially in these little towns or what have you. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. But this is no longer a fringe theory. This is a very real lawsuit. So here's my thing. Let's do discovery and find the fuck out. If we're wrong, then we're wrong. I am an Occam's razor guy. As you know, like I'm very much like the sensible solution makes sense. And again, like I'm just gonna stick with like we lost because Americans turns out are fucking dumb. Like that's which is a fine theory. I mean, it's a theory I refuse to give up. Ultimately, right?
Like the old George Carlin bit of like think of like how stupid the average person is, and then realize that half of them are even stupider than that. Like that.
That's the fucking bell curve, man.
Right.
Average intelligence is not that smart. It's not. It's dumb. You ever spoke to an average person? You're like, holy shit, I must be a genius. You are in comparison to them. They're
just look at the federal government currently and the people that are leading it.
Again, I
will say the one silver lining of this administration, real positive time for those of us who sometimes suffer from imposter syndrome.
That's my thing, dude. Don't have it. Let it go. Let it go, man. You could be president. Like, trust me, you could, whatever job you're applying to, you're like, I don't think I'm smart enough. You are. You're smarter than these people. You are, especially in politics. You're 100%. Do you drink raw milk? No, you're good. You're fucking 90% of the way there, man. You're ready to run HHS. You're good. Trust me.
You do a better job than the guy that's fucking there.
Leaps and bounds.
I'd walk into HSS and I'd be like, hey, like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Give me some experts that can guide me the right way.
They're like, oh, thank God.
You're already doing better than RFK.
Like, thank God. we got somebody at the helm who knows what they're doing. Like, yeah, just
Right.
ask people who know what they're doing. Like, he's like, nah, fuck that.
Or
So
write
yeah,
myself.
so we'll
I'm a
what's that?
I said I'm gonna run it myself. I'm gonna handpick the people that tell me what I want to hear. So
Yeah, that's the way you do it. Obviously, is raw milk good? Yes, sir. That's what I thought. Excellent. That dumb idiot literally drank raw milk with a fucking dumb influencer. That was RFK's thing just recently. He's like, woo, we're fucking drinking raw milk. Isn't that awesome?
yeah, and the funniest post that I saw about after that, raw milk has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever. So.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness to RFK, can you get more than one brain worm? I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know what the science is. Probably. Will there be anything left for it to eat?
That's the
survey says likely not. And that guy, was that Paul Saladino that he was with, is a guy who pushed and pushed and pushed for the carnivore diet. Just eat meat, bro. It's the best way to be as an omnivore human. And then he was like, I'm having a lot of health problems, so I like to put, I'm adding in a couple of fruits and vegetables and some honey, and, that's working out pretty good. Oh, you mean you're eating like an omnivore, you fucking moron? He wrote an entire book, and a bunch of dumb dude bros were like, well, I just eat steak and fucking eggs, bro, and like, I'm losing weight. Yeah, because you're not eating anything else, you fucking moron. Yeah. You're giving people who go to the gym a bad name. Please stop talking on the internet. For the love of God. I hate them. Yeah, our new segment, a wretched hive of scum and villainy. Israel decides to do a preemptive strike on Iran. Iran retaliates, and then Israel gives a shocked Pikachu face. Why are you shooting at us?
I didn't know they were going to shoot missiles back at us. What the fuck?
Turns out. So Israel was just like, heard y'all were talking shit. So we're just going to start firing fucking rockets over there. And here's the thing. Some people will make the argument that Iran is totally innocent. That's a poor argument. Okay. That's a really poor argument. Don't do that. Okay. Because I see that online, and that really pisses me off.
Once again, shockingly, we're running into another situation where we have two really shitty right-wing governments clashing with each other. You don't have to pick a side. You can say both of them fucking suck. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, you got to give that guy credit. Here's the thing. You don't have to give that guy credit at all. So I see people who I largely have come to like and respect online be like, hell yeah, Iran is totally innocent. I'm like, Iran does a lot of funding of Hamas. Okay. Please knock it off. Okay.
They do a lot of funding of Hamas. They'd really love to have a nuclear weapon, and probably can't be completely trusted with that if they were to be able to develop one. It's almost like I wish we had some sort of nuclear agreement where we could make sure that they weren't right, where they could develop nuclear power, but wouldn't be able to develop an actual nuclear weapon. If only we had one of those things that could stop them from doing that, then maybe we could have avoided a lot of this escalation.
A lot of saber rattling shenanigans.
Yeah. We're past the rattling at this point. So there's fucking missiles happening.
Yeah,
so.
it's building rattling, by the way.
Right.
And so Iran gets attacked, right? And look, Israel's argument is, hey man, you've been funding Hamas, we've been fighting them, you are sponsoring terrorism and things like that. We're coming, right? We're lobbing bombs in there,
right? And you're trying to develop a nuke that is also
right.
Like, and if you develop a nuke, like, we're afraid you're gonna fucking wipe Israel off the planet, which that's a fair fear to have. I feel
it's a fair fear to have. However, I don't care for the woe is us, Israel, bitch. You have 200 nukes, okay? Right. Like, don't do that.
Turns out, shitty as it may be, mutually assured destruction is actually a pretty effective deterrent from people just kind of going off and firing nukes off all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, look at Pakistan and India. They're like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Oh, we're going to start bombing you. And people are like, nuke? Like, what are we doing? And everyone's like, all right. Like, enough of this shit. Like, everybody calm down, right? Like, yeah. tends to resolve itself pretty fast, right? I hate that guy, but I still want to be here tomorrow, right? That type of shit. So they lob bombs over into Iran. Iran's like,
what the fuck?
Like, what the fuck? We going? Like, bro, you talking shit? All right. We're sending shit back. And Israel's like, whoa, what did we do? To fucking ignore the stories that came out 2 days ago? Like, bro, we didn't forget.
Feel like you guys are overreacting a little bit here, huh? Like, what the fuck?
It's like a friendly banter. We throw some bombs, you just accept it, and then we all move on, right?
Right.
Iran was like, not today. And so they launched those bitches directly into fucking Tel Aviv. And they got a couple of direct hits from the videos I saw, which was, I have to imagine, if you're living in Tel Aviv, is fucking terrifying. Holy shit. But here's the thing. I don't like right-wing governments in Israel. I don't like them in Iran. Not a fan. But you're not allowed to just do preemptive strikes into countries and expect nothing to happen. And the rhetoric that we have heard for the last 2 years has been, we have to bomb from Israel, as we have to bomb Gaza into the fucking Stone Age because Hamas is embedded in the fucking city. Like, we don't know where they are. Oh, let's blow this hospital up. We have to, because Hamas is, they're fucking embedded. We don't know. However, when Tehran sends bombs directly into Tel Aviv and they're hitting shit in downtown, oh, this is fucking unacceptable, whatever. They were striking military fucking areas because Israel has major government and military shit in the middle of Tel Aviv. They're embedded in the city. But I thought that was unacceptable behavior. It's unacceptable when it happens to you, but it's totally acceptable for you to fucking level Gaza for the same exact argument.
Right. And
I don't like hypocrisy. It irritates me.
I really don't like anyone firing off missiles at anyone else. Like, it kind of feels like a weirdly primitive in a lot of ways. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like diplomacy has advanced enough in the past, for fuck's sake. I mean, it's insane to me. But at the same time, like, I understand Israel has a lot of like real little brother energy. Like they're the little brother that talks a lot of shit to people because they know that if anyone actually does anything to them, that big brother's sitting over here that'll come and have their back. But like, that shit's only gonna fucking work for so long, right? And like they were shocked when they got attacked by Hamas, despite fucking all the insurgencies they were doing in the Gaza Strip and stuff like that in the years and decades leading up to that, while keeping Hamas in power, by the way, and funding Hamas to stay in power. Let's not gloss over that point. But hey, why introduce facts and that stuff? And same thing with like Iran.
Really
like,
irrelevant, kind of boring, bro.
Right, like, and the same thing with Iran. We're just like, hey, we're going to fire off some missiles. Like, oh, there's no way Iran's going to strike us back because, like, if they do, then the U.S. is going to get involved, and they don't really want that. And then Iran's like, fuck you, like, we're going to strike you back. Like, why are you surprised that this is happening? Like, you can only fucking be a bully for so long before people start to hit you back in the fucking mouth.
Yeah, well, speaking of that,
and again, the unfortunate part is both Tehran and in Tel Aviv, it's not the fucking government officials that are the ones having to pay the price. Like, innocent people are being killed or being injured by this shit, and they're the ones that are paying the price. And again, we have to say this constantly because the nuance tends to fucking go away when we get into heated discussions about shit like this. The Israeli people are not their government. The Iranian people are not their government.
Right.
The governments are the governments. And they suck, and the people are the people. And yeah, sure, do they elect some people in power? Sure. Guess what? In Iran, the elected government's not necessarily as powerful as the spiritual government.
Yeah,
that's it.
That shit doesn't matter at all.
Right.
Yeah, they're run by a fucking religious dictator. Okay, like, that's just the way it goes. All that being said, your point is right on time. Because here comes Big Brother. Here we go. Donald Trump tweeted out, or truthed it, everybody in Tehran should leave, is what he tweeted. It's like 3 o'clock,
Cool.
4 o'clock in the morning when he tweeted it, the 4 o'clock in the morning their time. And there is video of the major strip of highway trying to leave Tehran is just wall to wall because they're so afraid the U.S. is just going to come in and bomb the shit out of everything.
Sure.
And we moved a fucking second strike group within range of Tehran. Please don't do this. Please don't do this.
I mean, weren't you just bragging
Please don't do this.
when you were in office the first time? How like, oh, I made the deal to get us out of Afghanistan. You really want to go into this shit again? Doesn't seem like a good idea.
A war with Iran is not a war with Iraq. I need people to really understand that. Look, we went into Iraq fucking shock and awe, got that shit done in like taking over the government in like a week and a half, right? Like, we're coming, bro. There's nothing you can do to stop us. Squeaky tanks and all that shit, right? Like, we'll go in there. Iran is a very big country. And I think they are
a really developed country too. Like,
right.
People again because it's over there. Your average citizen,
rocks, dude. It's
like your average citizen's like, oh, Tehran, what are they like, fucking living in tents and shit like that? Like, no, dude, it's a regular metropolitan city, and like as you would expect it to look in the year 2025.
Right.
They're very technologically advanced. It's not like they're fucking banging sticks together to make fire and shit like that. Like, that's not. You pull your fucking head out of your ass and realize the state of the world that you're living in.
Right. And look, they don't have the tech, they don't have the ballistic missiles and shit like that, at least not from my understanding, to get to the US. Right? Like,
no.
That's not a concern. But if I'm a person in Israel, I'm terrified that the US overexposed. By the way, if I'm a citizen in Israel, I'm pissed at Netanyahu for putting us in a further terrible fucking situation. By the way, this is yet another distraction for him not being arrested, okay? Because he will go to fucking prison. Please don't forget that. But you have got to stop putting citizens of Israel in the same bucket as these vicious fucking vipers who run this country. Okay? Just like I wouldn't put Brad in the same bucket with the Trump administration. That's dumb. Okay, that's stupid. Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.